And we are here to break it all down for you. In studio, I have Dr. Tobias Olweni from academia, JQuet, and I also have Chachi Logutu from the analyst world, financial analysis world. So I'm trying to check here the CBK, the dollar. Where are we? 145? Hey, that particular appreciation of the shilling against the dollar has been causing a lot of concern, and people have different theories in regards to what exactly is going on. How come our shilling all of a sudden just became very, very strong? And there's been talk, because if you listen to the central bank governor during the post-monetary policy committee address, he was asked about this particular issue of the shilling and its volatility, and he said that they can intervene. In fact, let's listen to him talk about this issue about intervening on the exchange rate.
Central bank's policy on the exchange rate is to allow the exchange rate to be determined by market forces. However, we do intervene when we see that there is excessive volatility. And as I've indicated before, it is my view now that the exchange rate has overshot the equilibrium rate. So there could be scope for central bank to support the exchange rate going forward.
All right. So according to CBK, I'm just on their website right now. The dollar is exchanging at 145 shillings and 85 cents. Now, just consider last week we were at 160. Why this? And even as all that happens, there is a certain level of confidence from Treasury saying that if at all you are holding your dollars speculatively, it's high time that you get rid of them before we go even lower. This is the PS talking about this issue on matters dollars.
If you are holding any dollars because you are fearing Eurobond, please note that now the risk of failure to settle for the Eurobond is gone, and so you need to get back to business, sell your dollars and get back to business. Don't do any speculation anymore.
All right, and I'm glad that Dr. Tobias Olweni followed the PS's advice and he sold all his dollars. First of all, Dr. Olweni, how do you interpret this in regards to this particular gain against the dollar? Are we doing that good? Is it these inflows that we were talking about that sort of have strengthened our dollar? What is your interpretation of all this?
Yes, Noah, in international finance, when you talk about foreign exchange market, it's a very sensitive market because it affects a number of players. And each and every time, there are people that are holding a certain currency to gain from it, speculators rightly said. And then there are also people who arbitrage in the international market. When the exchange rate is so volatile, as the CBK governors put it, central banks all over the world are allowed to intervene, despite the fact that forces of supply and demand are supposed to be controlling the market. Now, in the Kenyan situation, we have a few things that have been pointed out or that might have led to what we are experiencing. Number one, being the fact that we had a positive investor sentiment in the international market because of the fact that, as I had explained earlier, we were supposed to be caught in a certain place, but we escaped in terms of repaying the money. So the market sentiments became positive to us. And number two is the issue of the bonds that we have issued, the infrastructure bond, which has attracted the investors, foreign investors, which is mainly composing of institutional investors. So in the foreign exchange market, institutional investors play a major role because they're the ones who do main trading. So that could have been the other fact,
Okay.
and also the issue to do with the guys who are having money, hoarding money for speculation purposes. You know, every time they see the market changing, they also now want to dispose of it quickly.
Okay, that's very important to note. Churchill, has it been found? Because as the PS urges speculators not to withhold or rather get rid of their dollars, there is a lot of speculation around this particular appreciation of the shilling against the dollar. Have we found the actual cause of this appreciation?
Well, it's still hard to pinpoint the actual causes, but I mean, you can trace to a few things that have played out recently. Let me take you back to December. This is after the December 2023 post MPC meeting, whereby the governor held a press conference. And one of the things remember that MPC raised the CBR, central bank rate, by 2 percentage points. And one of the things behind that was that because of the negative spillovers that the shilling had weakened quite drastically, it had a negative impact to inflation, what you call FX pass-through. And because of that, just to address that, they hiked the interest rate, at least to abate the shilling slide. But between December all the way to right before the February MPC meeting, we saw the reverse actually happening, the shilling continuing weakening. And what we came to understand, even the last week's MPC meeting, the governor also mentioned that there is some equilibrium fair value. It's like the shilling at around 160 level just before the MPC meeting. It was the perception that we got out of that MPC meeting was that the fair value, whatever it is, had already been surpassed. So if you think about that, you can just say that they might be, from a speculating perspective, that there was a form of intervention by the CBK, at least to be able to nudge the shilling back to the equilibrium or fair value. We still do not know what that particular level of the shilling to the dollar is at the moment. The other thing that we've heard also the PS mentioning, and also from reading online, is that also the impact of the infrastructure bond sale, and two, the Eurobond. So if you look at the Eurobond, pretty much we didn't get dollars coming into Kenya. So it was issuing a Eurobond, which is now to pay off the current Eurobond. So no net inflows coming into Kenya. But the point that I'm looking at, which I'm still haven't pinned down into, is now the issue around foreign investors' participation. Yes, we had close to 288 billion shillings being put as bids in the infrastructure bond that sold out on Wednesday. But what proportion of foreign interest was pegged on that? Is it 100 billion? Is it 200 billion? So no one, you ask two guys, will get two different numbers. But the point is, okay, what is this 100 billion that we can just say that, okay, they say 100 billion from foreign investors came in. But remember, even in terms of by the time they are investing their dollars to Kenya, into Kenya, they already know the price that right now the dollar is 160. If I want a Kenya shillings equivalent, I'll be able to post, say, $20 million so that I can get an equivalent amount in Kenya shillings. But as the exchange rates now moves lower from 161 to 145, you can imagine that the amount that they intended to invest, if it was, say, 100 million Kenya shillings, it will even be lower than that because of the rapid swings on Kenya shillings. So that is something that needs to be investigated. No one at this point knows the breakdown of this proportion of the bids that came in were from offshore, and this is now from the local investors. But once we get the overview, we cannot be able to say, because of this influx of dollars in the market, that might have tipped the apple cart positively for the case, but for Kenya shilling. But the way I'm looking at it, I think, yeah, sentiment might have improved because of the liability management that was done with the Eurobond, but it takes a while. I mean, it's not moves can't just swing drastically like the moves you've seen over the last 1 week or so, pretty much this last 2 days. And you can't just say that it's because of the Eurobond. One, because our shilling is not investable.
Okay. Churchill, slowly we've lost you there because of internet, but very, very good points raised right there. Dr. Olunyi, now looking at this, first of all, in regards to the impact, when we have such a huge gain, do you think this will be sustainable, fast? And secondly, what will that mean for, the rest of us, majority of us Kenyans who are just doing life on a daily? What will that mean to us?
Thank you, Noah. A huge amount there because the difference is big. Sometimes when we are looking at or analyzing some of these things, we would actually treat this as a noise in the market, probably. I mean, because sometimes when we have not really ascertained where is it coming from, which, as you can see, we agree from an analyst's point of view that sometimes we have not really come to terms with what is really taking place. It can be a noise in the market. And what whoever is trading in the foreign exchange market is thinking about now, and even for us as ordinary people, is stability. We want a stable rate that you can actually talk of. The rate, maybe if it stabilizes at 120, 130, the fact that it's not stable, that one affects people. But now that it has been going on a downward trend, the most affected group of people are those who are doing export. Like when you go to Naivasha, we have flowers that we are exporting. There is an ordinary mwananchi working there from morning to evening. And when the currency is appreciating, they have a challenge in that they are actually feeling the heat that when they export, they get less. So probably this person's earnings might be reduced or maybe things like that. For the ordinary person that is doing their own, their daily business, the reduction in dollar probably could be good news. But as I've said earlier, only when it is sustained and is stable. Because when it's only for a week and it goes up and down without stability, we can't tell the major impact. Okay. So the only persons which are directly affected by this are the ones who are in the foreign exchange market, the players like those who are holding the dollars, they will lose, and those who are doing some kind of hedging with the dollars, they might also lose. So because they had already projected higher rate. So the effect is majorly with the main traders, but also with the employees of firms which are doing export.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, do we still have Churchill on call? Churchill, let me get you. Will this, briefly, will this sustain this particular strengthening of the shilling? Is it sustainable? And what do you think will be the impact of this as we close?
Well, it's not sustainable. As Prof has mentioned, I mean, what is actually needed is stability. We don't want to see one day you are at 160, the next day you are at 130. I mean, we can't go with this ping pong like that for a long period of time. You need at least some fair level of stability in Kenya within the exchange rate, at least to be able to even give people dealing within the forex exchange, be it importers, be it also exporters, at least some fair level of stability whenever they run their business. At least today's session, we have seen some stability, somewhat trending between 143 to 145 levels against the dollar. So let's see how next week will pan out, whether it will be within this range, but that is the kind of stability that we need to see within the exchange rate.
All right. Thank you very much, Churchill. Good with that proper analysis, and also right here in studio, Dr. Tobias Olweni, giving us the ins and outs on matters dollar and earlier on Kenya's new Eurobond and repaying the old one. These have been actually the top stories in the business world this week. Thank you very much for joining with us on Business Today. Have yourself a blessed weekend. I'm Nogip Kamboy. Up next, we have Mbiu KTN. Stay tuned.